Religion, The Real Matrix, the book based on African spirituality and mythology from ancient Kemet or Egypt. Written by author Heru Ifangbemi, the book shows that all Western religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, plagiarize from African spiritual systems to come up with their religions. Buy the book on Amazon. Link is in the description box. Let's go.
For a number of years. I would like to know your thoughts or your plans, if in fact you are elected, on how you would allocate reparations to Black America and who those Black Americans in particular would be, and how you would know that.
Good question, because the first thing mention reparations, and you can expect, I expect white Americans to act like this because I'm not surprised. Right. But you get some Black people, the debt, F you into that. You don't worry about the debt when you're spending trillions of dollars to go to war in Afghanistan. Where's the debt? The debt. When you're going to war in Iraq, you weren't worried about the trillions you spent then. The debt. When you bailed out the airline industry, when you bailed out the housing industry, the banking industry, when you bailed out AIG, when you bailed out Bank of America, when you sent out stimulus checks, when you did the PPP loans, trillions of dollars that they're now forgiving, by the way. They're not even making people paying it back. When you did the vaccines, trillions of dollars or billions of dollars to develop the vaccines, distribute them. And at that time, Trump had cut taxes to its lowest level in history, meaning America gave up trillions of dollars that we could have been bringing in taxes. You don't hear anybody worried about the debt. The moment you mention this country's original debt that they owe us, everyone pulls their hair and screams at the sky. The sky is falling, the sky is falling. F you the sky into that. First of all, my reparations plan, let me be very clear. The federal government does not need tax dollars to spend money. They never have, they never did. Matter of fact, the federal government, because America is a monetary sovereign, America makes its own currency. And that has actually always been used to raise money. When the Great Depression happened, not only did this country buy millions of dollars worth of homes to keep people from going in the street, Roosevelt spent hundreds of billions, today's value would probably be trillions of dollars, to do the New Deal that started a whole millions of jobs in this country. They were paying people left and right, generating money out of thin air to pay people. They did the same thing with the stimulus, okay? They did the same thing with the PPP loans. This country does not need our tax dollars. And actually, when you give money to people, it actually helps to generate more revenue. I want to say that because people like to say, oh, you're going to put this country in debt. I need to address it before I even talk about my reparations plans. Debt is a false scare tactic they use in America. The debt, America only owes itself. America has canceled debt before. Just look at World War I and World War II. America canceled billions, probably trillions of dollars that they could have gotten in debt. America's canceling debt right now, again, in the PPP loans. Debt, or what America does with that, they either cancel it or they do what's called bonds, which is yellow dollars, like around this color here. And people buy bonds, banks, other countries, investment firms, and the American government pays them on it. And when they want to, they simply say, give us back our yellow dollars, we give you green dollars. So debt is used to raise money in America. I must say that because people are always going to say, well, you can't do reparations, it's going to cost too much. Now, here's my plan. My plan calls for every descendant of an American slave, meaning a person who was here at the end of the Civil War Emancipation Proclamation, to get direct monetary payments. The amount that my team and I have generated from studying is $2.8 million per person. However, we won't get that in a lump sum. What we will get are 2.8 million US bonds, yellow dollars. And what the federal government will do, they will pay us interest on those yellow dollars. So instead of getting one lump sum, we will be getting lifetime payments every month, all the time, into perpetuity as when we have those U.S. bonds. That's my plan. My plan calls for bringing back the Freedmen's Bureau. The first Freedmen's Bureau was established to provide for the needs of people who were formerly enslaved and some white refugees. But freedmen is a political classification that only belongs to descendants of American slaves who were here at the end of the Emancipation Proclamation. The Freedmen's Bureau is going to be the branch of the government They're going to be separate from the government. The government is going to fund them, but it's going to be independently operated by us. They're going to oversee everything, our direct monetary payments, us getting compensation for the land that's been stolen, helping us to get back to black farming, because of people who cannot feed themselves is of people who cannot defend themselves. So I want to bring our people back to black farming. They're going to deal with us getting business grants so we can bring back our black Wall Streets. Everybody acts like Chinatown or Little Mexico's are such a big deal. They ain't nothing. Black Wall Streets, we did Black Wall Streets coming off the plantation. Last time I checked, they didn't build Chinatown coming off a plantation. They built Chinatown with money. They paid the Chinese to finish building the railroads that we had almost done all of. Yeah. And they paid the Chinese. Then they gave the Chinese land. We didn't have nothing given to us. And yet we built not one Black Wall Street. That's one Oklahoma. There were Black Wall Streets throughout this country. California, Virginia, Mississippi, Florida, North Carolina, of course, my native South Carolina. We have Black Wall Streets all over. If you think the Chinatowns are something to be amazed by, wait until we bring back our Black Wall Streets. The Freedmen's Bureau is going to handle all of that. The government will not be over us. They would simply finance the Freedmen's Bureau, and the Freedmen's Bureau will be financed by us. The Freedmen's Bureau is going to handle bringing back our Freedmen hospitals. Black women, and I'm very passionate about this, and this is what killed my grandmother. Black women are more likely to die giving birth to a child than women in Afghanistan, Syria, and Iraq. If that sounds surprising to you, it should be disgusting, but it's not a surprise to me. If you are a woman and you're pregnant with a child, you are more likely to live giving birth to a child in Afghanistan, right now, war-torn Afghanistan, that really doesn't have any medical infrastructure, than you are in America. When a Black woman has a Black doctor, that rate drops almost non-existent. My grandmother was given bad blood in the 1960s when she gave birth to my third uncle. She would live, but the bad blood ruined her liver and kidneys. I saw my grandmother go through excruciating pain. I would see her collapse. One time she fell and hit her head so bad she knocked out two of her teeth, all because they didn't see her as a human being, and they put bad blood in her. Freeman hospitals that no one ever goes through the pain that my mother, you mentioned my grandmother, to my mother still breaks out in tears. And it was 30-something years ago now that my grandmother's been dead. Bring back Freeman hospitals so we can take care of our own people. Bring back Freeman schools so we don't have our kids getting... I was a teacher for 20 years, and I am unapologetically a tough teacher. But you can look at my data and see kids that came to me, only 20% can read on grade level. By the time I'm done, 70 to 80% are reading on grade level. I keep my paperwork. So Clyburn, when you want to do your little commercials about me being a tough teacher, first of all, I ain't backing down. I don't care if any Karen out there felt I was too tough on their child. Get over it. I want you to attack my record as a teacher. That's something I would love to bring to the public because I'm proud. I have awards and bonuses and letters from parents galore and surveys to show my record as a teacher. I want us to bring back our Freedmen schools so we can teach our own students. I want us to have land like Native Americans have reservation systems. I want there to be land federally allocated to Black Americans in every state just for our people. So my plan is called A Better Deal for Black America. Those are the gist of it. And you can read more about it on my website at marcelforcongress.com.
I want to transition to hip hop and the culture of hip hop. And as it pertains to how hip hop is influenced with political parties, elections, and things like that. Now, we also speak about how it seems as though a lot of parties use our hip hop influence to manipulate, influence whatever you want to use our people into voting for them. Hearing your message and hearing what you are articulating, it would seem as though from what you hear out here on social media that a lot of your ideals match a lot of the Black celebrities' ideals from what they put on social media. But then we see them and how they kind of vouch for certain people that don't really fit our ideals, and it makes you kind of look a different way. How have people, if any, within South Carolina, wherever the case may be, has anybody ever reached out to you in support? Because obviously campaigning involves a lot of money, dollars, and things like that. That's how these people win. So has anybody from South Carolina, throughout, whatever the case may be, within our culture reached out and said, you know what, Mr. Dixon, I fuck with what you're saying. Let's rock.
Well, I had never even voted before in my life until 2020. And the only reason I voted in 2020 was just to not vote for Clyburn and Joe Crow. I wrote in reparations. That's the only time. Before then, my family's background, my mother and my grandmother and one of my great-grandmothers, a lot of people in my family are Jehovah's Witnesses. So I always stayed out of politics because of the Jehovah's Witnesses studying the Bible. They believe we should be preparing for God's kingdom and preaching those ideals now. I have been politically inactive for the longest. I started with just 6 months left in the campaign. If you know politics, that's almost no time at all. I had no money, never ran for office. No one knew me. I was a quiet, small town teacher in a swampy coastal part of rural South Carolina. So I was brand new. So I say that to say that some people are still learning about me. Even people in my town are still learning about me. However, some, like Charlamagne the Fraud is from Charleston, a suburb right outside of Charleston. He knows about me. He's very active in my area. He's from the Low Country. He's from the Low Country. I'm from the Low Country. He definitely knows about me. He could have reached out to me. I'm not entitled to his support, of course, but this is a man who always talks about he's of the streets meets the radio, blah, 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 blah. That man never once mentioned me. You know why? Because he's a coward. He's afraid of pissing off Joe Crow or Kamala Harris. He wants to brag about being able to get big names on his radio shows. Look at me. I got the president coming to me. So because of that, he knows that if he had me on his show, James Clyburn would have thrown a fit. And then Joe Crow, the guy who raised the crackhead, and Kamala Harris, and I mean what I say, that man locked up millions of Black Americans for just smoking marijuana. But his son's out here doing crack and hasn't seen the day behind bars. So I mean what I say. I want to be very clear. So when I say some people have not reached out to me, some just don't know about me, but some, like Charlamagne the Fraud, knows about me, and they're just afraid of what connections they will lose by having someone like me on this show. Because people who are well connected within the Democratic Party will say, why did you have him on? And they'll never come back on his show, and he won't be able to get these big political names. So then you have people like Lotto, Cardi, Megan Thee Stallion talking about WAP with Hillary Clinton. Nobody care about all of that. Dry your WAP out, put your pants on, stand up straight, and let's talk about Jackson, Mississippi. Let's talk about our people losing their land. Let's talk about our people only having 48% home ownership, while other groups are in the 60s and 70s and 80s. And we built the country. Can we talk about something of substance? Stacey Abrams holding up a sign, "My body, my choice." Let me tell y'all something. I've spoken to thousands of voters, and I don't support abortion at all. I believe we need to be making life better for Black babies to come into. They used to take our Black babies from us and feed them to alligators. They've always gone after our children even before they were born. However, the average Black woman I've spoken with, they ain't thinking about no damn abortion. They're thinking about, I want to have a nice home for my children to live in. I want my kids to go to good schools. I want to have land so my kids can inherit. We know this country owes us, pay us. All they want Black people to do is kill our babies, shut up, and vote for the Democrats and don't ask for anything, while other groups, Asians, get a crime bill to protect them. Hispanics get illegal immigrants becoming citizens, which I am strongly against. So a lot of these hip hop artists are sellouts. When you said a lot of them feel the way I feel, I was about to ask you, is Tupac still alive? Because he's one of the main artists. If he was alive today, I am sure, if he knew about me, would probably have supported me, because he used to talk this type of stuff all the time. But if we had artists like Nina Simone, well, she's not hip hop, but one of my favorite artists, Nina Simone, artists who were willing to stand on what they said and didn't back down. I think we still have a lot of artists who feel that way, but I don't think they're the popular ones. These popular artists, the JCs and the JC in particular, they sell out. They've sold out. They think They think them being successful is reparations for us. Because he could smoke a cigar and go and have lunch with the NFL owners, he thinks that means we good. He thinks we should aspire to be like him. Ain't nobody want to be like you. What we want and what we deserve are our reparations. And it is unforgivable for any person who's a descendant of American slave, any black person, even a black immigrant who's come to this country, any immigrant, because you're only able to do that because of black Americans. Any black person that's made it in this country, you've only made it because other black Americans fought and died and sacrificed. You show me any black American that's made it, and I will show you a whole community of black Americans who somehow supported them along the way, fed them, loved them, gave them words of encouragement, protected them. And for you to think that because you made it, your responsibility is only to yourself, no. We are people that have always known if I make it, I ain't made it until all of us have made it. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these hip hop artists are sellouts. A lot of them are scared to death, piss pants level scared of losing connections. And the ones like Tupac are unfortunately dead, or the underground artists who may not have the same platform as the bigger name artists.